I think I'm getting good at this. So aloha everyone and welcome to Healing Moments with Karina. And this is our free live monthly webinar event. And this program is dedicated to healing the self and aging our souls to move forward on our evolutionary journeys. Each month we create a space to look at life's big questions about healing and consciously creating our experience. Together we're finding the answers, tuning into our hearts and moving into the new dimensional energies. This month's topic is how can we create a new world on Earth? So let's just let somebody else in here from the waiting room. Aloha, Sandra. I think I got everybody on mute. Hopefully not me. And I hope this is working live on Facebook. Well, here we go. It says go live, so I better do that. All right. So welcome to everybody who's joining us live on Facebook as well. I want to just start our program today, and our topic is how are we creating a new world on Earth? So what a current and appropriate question for our world as it is right now. October 2020, we've moved from the 9 months of September, the completion months in the Lemurian numerology, and now we're moving into the 1, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. It's the 10th month, but we reduce it down to a 1 in the Lemurian numerology. So how can we create a new world on Earth? I think I also wrote on Instagram, what is really going on in the world and how can we create something really, really special? So let's join together in a centering prayer as we begin. And what I'd like to do is just lead you through the first steps of the 5-breath self-healing meditation. So we're just going to take 1 breath at each of the hand placements. But let me tell you a little bit about this breathing, because I did a class recently about breathing for ascension, and you might like to check that out on signaturecellhealing.com, because if you missed the class, the video recording is available there. So this 5-breath self-healing meditation uses deep pranic breathing in order for us to center and heal ourselves, because it's a really critical time in our great shift in consciousness, and there might not always be a healer around to help us. So let's try this breathing. And what you do is you imagine the golden particles. Imagine just like golden specks of light above your crown chakra. And you take a deep breath and inhale through your nose, and you bring it down through the pineal gland in the center of your head, and it turns into white light. And then you continue inhaling and draw it down into your heart chakra. And right there is where you lock it in between the in-breath and the out-breath. Lock it and weave the physical, the emotional, the mental, and spiritual bodies together. And then exhale through your mouth. Then send the breath up to your shoulders, down your arms, and out your palms. And you're going to place them different parts of your body. And it's very healing. It's very centering. I do this several times a day, and it's very helpful. So let's try the first hand placement. So join me by putting your right palm on your crown chakra and the left palm on top. Now take one of those deep prana breaths again. Breathe in, lock it. Exhale and let the light, that white light, fill up your whole head, the whole cranium. That's the first breath. Normally we would take 5, right? And then the next breath is at your closed eyelids. So I'm just going to tip my glasses up here a bit. and you take your middle finger and your index finger and you place them on your closed eyelids. Breathe in as before, lock it, exhale into your eyes and let the light go all the way back to the optic nerve and the vagus nerve in the back of your head. The next placement is at your heart muscle. So a little bit on the left side of your chest. Place your palms there, right palm down, left palm on top, and the thumbs pointing up towards your neck. Breathe in, lock it, and let the light just fill up this whole part of your chest. It's expanding your lymphatic system, activating your lymphatic system, and helping with your immune system in this part of your body. The next placement is at your third chakra, right at your stomach, below the rib cage, right palm and left palm. Breathe in, lock it, exhale into your stomach, and just fill up your whole abdomen with that healing white light. And the last one is way down by the pubic bone, second chakra, right palm, left palm on top. Breathe in, exhale into this whole area where we have the end of the digestive tract, our urinary tract, and the reproductive organs. And just continue breathing as I call upon the Creator, the Christ light, the Goddess weave of love, and all the beautiful energies of love of our higher selves, our angels, our guides, our elven, the energies of love from the galactic worlds, and all the beautiful energies of the highest light that guide us in our journeys here on earth. For this day, we're talking about creating a new world on earth. And we're grateful for the guidance and for the feedback from the people listening and from our guidance to guide us through the process of understanding what is this great shift and what is our part in it. So we pray now that the words that I speak will touch the hearts of everyone listening here live and then again in the recording. We offer this prayer in humble love and gratitude, and so it is in love. Amen. So that's our 5 breath self-healing meditation, which is very helpful when we have chaotic energies bombarding us like every day. If you watch the news, it's kind of chaotic, right? So center yourself that way. And if you want to learn more about the 5 breath self-healing meditation, you can go to signaturecellhealing.com, and there's a video tutorial there, there's an ebook, and now there's even a class that will help you to understand how that works. So I want to talk a little bit about the energies of October, and I want you to know that you can let's see if I can even see it here. If I could see it here on Facebook, I can check your. So welcome to everybody who's joining us live on Facebook. Oh, it's already recording. Okay. Okay, so I can see if there's any comments on Facebook, and you can also message me in Messenger if you have a question, and I'll see it there. So let's talk about this month of October, because I mean, if September wasn't dicey enough for you, how was your September? Let me just say for myself, September for me, and I said this in my newsletter that went out earlier. This past month, I just had this feeling of just letting things go and just completing things that I've been immersed in for a long time. And what that did was, when I released it, even though the 9 in the Lemurian numerology, and you can read about Lemurian numerology on my website, that's in the Lemurian wisdom section, by the way, that 9 is completions and new beginnings, but between the completion and the new beginnings, there's a void. It's kind of like locking your breath in the 5 breath self-healing meditation. You have that void, and it's a powerful space of creation when you allow yourself to feel that void energy where there's nothing. There's only the possibilities, limitless possibilities of creation. So that's where I found myself last month. And towards the end, I was like, is this month ever going to end? And then I had a friend who told me, oh my God, this was the fastest month ever. And I was like, okay, I don't know. It felt kind of long to me. In any case, how have you been feeling about that? I'm wondering, because now it's we're here in the 1 month of October. So let's talk a little bit about the Lemurian numerology, because um, in the one of creation. So whenever you have a double digit in Lemurian numerology, it reduces down to a single digit. So if you want to find out your life path number, which is your birthday, your day, month, and year of birth, you add all those numbers up and you come to a single number. So do that right now if you haven't ever done that, and find out what's your number. And you can look on my website for the Lemurian numerology and find out what is the theme of that number, or what does that number represent. So we reduce it down, and when there's a 0, like there is in the 10, it amplifies the number before it. So what we've got is amplified creator force energy. And that can feel very chaotic if it's out of control and it's not centered. So there's a powerful force in the one energy. But if you're not centered enough to use it, it can just go everywhere. So that's why that's where the breathing comes in. That's where the meditations come in. That's where, if you need a reading, I'm available. But I mean, there are healers, or there are readers that can also help you to kind of understand where you might be. But you can also get your own guidance in meditation. So this 1 month, so the number 1 lets us know that the creative energy is high now and something new is ready to begin. Connect into the energy of the creator within you. Feel the power of creation and embrace the new beginnings happening for you now. So sometimes there might be a new beginning there, but you just haven't seen it yet. So if you feel like, I feel like I'm still stuck in the same thing and it's going round and round, have another look at that and see where you might already be in that new creative force energy. You just maybe haven't recognized it. So does that resonate with you? I mean, this month already, for those of you that are not in the United States, our president is now in the Walter Reed Hospital, and there's just a lot of accelerated energy going on right now. I also, as far as we go into October, I wanted to bring your attention to in the numerology, the double numbers, like the 1010, the day of 1010, which is next Saturday is the 1010. And for me, that's always been a really powerful day of the year. When I was when we were together with the Silver Wings of Light Goddess Weave, for a number of years, 4 or 5 years, we did 1010 tours, and we built it around those numbers because it's such a powerful creative force number. You've got double creator. So pay attention to that day, where there's also, that's a very powerful day. And then look at the 1020, which would be another day of powerful double numbers. And 10, 20, 10, 20, 20, that's pretty cool. And 10, 10, 20, that's pretty cool too. 10, 10, 20, 20. Whoa, imagine. And you can add all those numbers up and get an idea of what's the energy of that day and reduce it down to 1 digit. It will tell you. The Lemurian numerology is just really great for opening yourself to guidance. So it's a way of, like astrology or anything else, you can open yourself to receiving energy and guidance. And that's a way that your guides can work with you, is through the Lemurian numerology. So check that out. And I do readings that deal with that. If you're interested, that's on my website. Let's talk a little bit about, because last time my goddess sister Mahina, who asked me about the celestial energies. And I don't feel like I really answered that question as well as I could have. It. So this month, it's really, really a powerful time. And I don't think we've seen, I mean, this month and next month and, going into next year, we're going to have some very powerful celestial energies. So I don't want to get too technical because that's always really boring for people that don't understand it. But I do want to explain to you, in case you hear about it from, astrologers or other person. And I'm not all that, I'm not a deep astrologer. I just dabble in it and I enjoy it. And I think it's helpful for my healies. And I think it's helpful for the people that ask for readings because it really allows you to look at your blueprint. That's the fun thing, is when you look at the astrology chart, you're essentially looking at the blueprint that you created to come here. And that blueprint is the one that's in the pineal gland that we activate in signature cell healing. So it all kind of hangs together. So let's look at the major hitters that are active in this month are the three large outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And these three are coming into relationship as they move and as other energies move with other dynamic energies like Mars, like the sun, and the moon. So these three planets are all in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the sign that tells us the rules of the game. What it's a management energy. It helps us to understand how do we organize things, or how are things done. It's the laws and the rules of our world. And so people with strong Capricorn are very organized, or they have a tendency to want order, or to want to organize things and to see that automatically. So these three large planets that are in Capricorn now are disrupting and evolving what we think of as the third dimensional order. So it all fits into everything that Kahu and Master Guide Kirill have shared with us about the great shift in consciousness. That this is a time when these energies are going to be there's going to be upheaval. There's going to be a great shift from the third into the fourth dimension, and then opening up to the other dimensions. So what a perfect time. And I want to give you a couple of specific dates that I want you to keep your eye on, so we don't get too, into different technical things. But there are those three planets. Let me just talk about them a little bit. Jupiter, I call the optimistic expander of vision. So it expands things. It has a vision. It's at home in Sagittarius, so it has this beautiful expansiveness of being the teacher and expanding anything that it comes up against. So that can be kind of dicey when it's amplifying certain things that we have in our world right now. Let's also look at Saturn. I call Saturn the judge, the organizer, and the structurer. And that planet is at home in Capricorn, which I just told you about. So Saturn is the planet of structure and how we manifest things into physical form. And it represents the rules or the laws of society. So now when that gets amplified by Jupiter, which it has been and it will be, there is a lot of focus on what are the rules, and maybe we want to change the rules now, or maybe the rules don't work anymore right now, which is kind of what's happening, right? And then the other planet that's really big right now is Pluto, and that's it's actually not a planet anymore. They demoted it, right? So it's a I think they call it a protoplanet, right? It's kind of an asteroid like. So anyway, that still has an effect on our blueprints, and I call it the transformer because it represents the shadow of our deepest fears, and it's Pluto's job to call up the experiences that get us to look at our healing issues. So Pluto transits, which is what's happening now. Pluto is affecting or other planets are coming into relationship with Pluto, that these things, these times can feel totally out of control. And I if you haven't felt it, I mean, I felt it sometimes, and it's challenging to the deepest parts of who we are. It's a time to surrender and feel your way through the process of transformation. So that's what we can do now. And that kind of, let me just give you the dates because it's going to bring us into our topic today of how do we create a new world on Earth. I want to give you the dates of, wait a minute now, pretty big energies on October 13th, where you're going to see a beautiful, oh my goodness, in the morning before dawn, go outside and look at Venus and the moon, because Venus is the goddess light, represents the goddess light, will be with the moon, and she's going through her cycle. Now with this fourth gate represents her heart chakra. And there's a little bit about that also on my website, Inanna's Journey into the Underworld. We'll have that in the morning. And then at night, or later in the day, is you can see Mars. You won't see Mars opposite the sun because the sun will be going down and Mars will be rising, and that's called the Mars opposition. And it amplifies the Mars energy. Now, the Mars I didn't talk about, but that is the warrior and the divine masculine in the shamanic astrology that I studied with. So this can also be a warrior energy, can also be aggressive energy, and it can tend to get amplified by the sun or the moon or other planets. So that's when we want to stay really centered in our hearts. We're going to have that, and that's a whole new Mars cycle starting. And then on that day, we'll have a Mercury retrograde starting. And the reason I talk about this Mercury retrograde, and I'll bring up the articles about it on my website, Mercury retrograde is just a matter of the planet, from our perspective, moving backwards across the sky. So in its movement, it moves in what would be considered reverse or retrograde motion. And for us on Earth, it means that we're shifting, or it's the most beneficial if we can shift from our normal left brain thinking into the more creative right brain thinking. That's how we can get through a Mercury retrograde. And that's how we can get through this particular cycle, because Mercury will go direct on election day. And that for me is just amazing timing. How about you? So the direct motion, Mercury will have this retrograde cycle in the sign of Libra, and it will go direct on election day, November 3rd. So watch for that one. And the other date I wanted you to look at was the 18th of October for certain energies, because the sun will be in relationship to Saturn, and it'll be in kind of a crisis, kind of a, Saturn square to the sun, and Mars square to Jupiter. So those squares create crisis in action. And crisis is not necessarily a bad thing. Crisis can be what moves us forward. And the Mars and the Jupiter expands that energy, right, of Mars. So those are the days that you can have a look at. There's a lot going on. And if you want to know more how it's, affecting your blueprint, which makes it really interesting to see how it starts to affect what you came here to experience, it's in your blueprint. Let me know. I do readings, and I love to do that for people, because it's it's so insightful and such a great awakening. So if you have questions about that, let me know. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that on the internet. Our topic today is how can we create a new world on Earth? Because, taking in mind all of these things that I've said already, what can we do to mitigate what might feel like chaos? And, what is really going on here? I asked on my post on Instagram, what is really going on? And then I also asked, Where is that? What can we do to support the great shift into a new dimension on our planet? And how can we each play our part in creating a new balance of love on earth? So how do we create this new balance? And for me, when I thought about it, please share what you feel about it. I'm checking Messenger. Please come in if you have anything that you want to share. Um, I thought, okay, there are three things that we need to do to create a new world on earth. It's be in love. So it's love, prayer, and vision. So think about that. First of all, in order to pray, we want to be in love, right? We want to get out of the fear. So there's a lot of fear prevailing on earth right now. I mean, um, oh, thank you, Amy. Standing in love. So that's the first place to be, is to come out of fear, because considering everything that's happening, and you can get doses of it all day long on your Twitter feed or in Facebook or Instagram or wherever you go for your news. Um, but we got to stay in love, and for me, that is just about coming into our hearts and looking for the truth, your truth, not anybody else's truth. So we could say be in love, but for me, it's the same thing to say be in truth, be in your truth. And the truth is love, and love is the truth. And you'll feel, you say, well, what is truth? Everybody's got truth. There's a million truths, but there is only one truth for you. And that's the truth that you feel when you get into your heart and you feel the love. And if you haven't felt that yet, I encourage you to try to go into meditation, do that 5 breath self-healing meditation, and then continue breathing and feeling the love. Because when we create this new world on earth, we're gonna do it from our hearts, guaranteed. Guaranteed, this higher dimensional world, when we get to it, is going to be in love. Whether it's fourth dimension, fifth dimension, or sixth dimension, or wherever we are, it's going to be a higher awareness of love than what we have right now in the third dimension, because the third dimension has been mostly about yin and yang and moving from fear into love, this whole process of going back and forth. So love, right? That's where we are first, and then prayer. So I don't want anybody to turn off now because I've gone religious on you. But as I've always said, and Kahu, Fred Sterling, my mentor, has always said, and Master Guide Kiro, with the 10 principles of consciously creating, that prayer is a way of expressing your intention. And then meditation is listening for the answer. So in prayer, it's just a statement of your intention. So what is it that we are choosing to create? And we state it in a prayer. So we express in words what is in our hearts. So we have love in our hearts and we express it in prayer. Now, when you say it out loud, you can write it down. That's very powerful. But when you say it out loud and express your prayer in love for this world, I create a world in love. I create a new world in love. And I encourage you to take it into the personal, take it into your personal life. Like, um, you know, for you, what does that feel like to create a new world on earth? There's a new world, globally, politically, environmentally, all of these things. That's a global perspective. But what about you personally? What does your own new world look like? What does your new world on earth look like? So, yes, Amy, your heart knows the answer. I asked my heart, what would you have me do? Right. And then you're talking to your own truth, right? The answer that you're going to get from that is going to be the one that comes from your heart. And it's not one that somebody else is going to tell you, um, you should do this, right? And that's always really kind of dicey, what? Why not listen to yourself? I mean, it may seem simpler to get the answer from somebody else, but you're going to go back around again because it won't be your answer. Okay, so love, prayer and the expression of prayer. And you can, if prayer bothers you as far as the word prayer goes, because it can for some people, just say intent, creating an intention for a new world. And then your vision. And because I'm a purple goddess, this is really big for me because the purple goddess is the goddess of vision, and um, weaving the heart and the mind. So when we weave the heart and the mind, we're weaving our prayers, our loving prayers, with the vision in our minds. And I'm not talking about the brain, the 10%, what Kahu and Master Kirill call the 10% brain, which is the processing unit that's up here in our heads. I'm talking about the heart brain, which is connected to our omni consciousness. And the omni consciousness, we're all connected in the whole world. So the whole everyone on the planet and in all the universes and everywhere is connected into this omni consciousness. And there might be other words for it, collective consciousness. I call it the omni consciousness. So when we can create a vision that comes from our hearts, we express it, and we create that vision and we see it. You can see it. So see the world that you want to create. Do you want to see a world that is pristine, beautiful forests, and people that are respecting the planet? Do you want to see your countries, all countries, in peaceful unison with each other? That people among the world, everyone on earth, is respectful of the other person and sees the light of the creator in everybody else's eyes. If you want to create a world like that, which I do, I vision that. I create a vision for that. And so that brings in your meditation. So if you're not meditating yet, this is not a negotiable item here. You must be meditating. And I really don't like to say must or anything like that. You don't must, or yeah, right. But it's really such a important thing to have in our life right now, a skill, or have it in our routine, where you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is go meditate, and the last thing you do at night is meditate and then go into your sleep state, where you can do the work that you've been working on in meditation and in prayer. So yeah, that the vision comes in your meditation. So create that prayer and that vision, and then see it, visualize it, because we know that this is the way that things become manifest in our world. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Love your definition of prayer. Wow. Thank you, Mahina Ku. Mahalo for the lesson on what's happening celestially for us now. Yeah, you're welcome. I think it really plays into to everything, to the great shift that Master Guide Kirill and Kahu, my mentors, have been talking about for 30 years. And everybody thought, yeah, great shift. I wonder what that's going to be like. And I know I did. And here we are, we're midst in it. And so you might be saying, well, when is the great shift going to happen? I feel it's happening now. I think there are more monumental energies that are bound to come that will totally allow us to visualize what is this new world on earth, because it's coming toward us. We're manifesting it on earth now as we speak with our thoughts and our prayers. So if you find yourself having, negative thoughts, or you get angry, or, and we all do, right? But take a breath and think about if there's a person that's making you angry, for example, take a minute and just look at the reflection, or think about, why is that person making you angry? Just think about it. Don't point the finger, because you're not going to get anywhere by pointing the finger. What happens is these are lesson plans that'll come up for all of us. And when I see something that I don't like, or a person that's doing something that I don't like, maybe I need to look at myself and think, okay, now what is it that that person's doing that's creating an angry situation for myself? And you might say, well, that sounds so airy fairy, Karinna. But it really is the truth. And for me, when I entered the goddess light many years ago, like 20 years ago, I don't know, maybe more, and started working in a goddess weave with with 7 goddesses, all of us together. And I started, looking at another goddess thinking, why did she do that? It makes me so, pisses me off, and I realized it's all about me. The whole thing is about me. And the acceleration that you can have in your healing process and in your journey when we recognize the mirror and work with the mirror, or work with the reflection that our mothers, our fathers, our husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, all the relationships that we have. This is a great gift that we have in our lives on earth, are the relationships. So if you want somebody to give you a read on that, I'm available, because sometimes it's hard to see it for ourselves. It really is. And a lot of times I would bang my head against the wall and wonder why the heck do I keep getting angry? So, getting angry is something that we don't want to do right now, because we're feeding into that, what Master Guy Kirill has called the over mastermind of the 3rd dimensional weave. And the 3rd dimensional weave of yin and yang on the planet carries the fears and the anger that has prevailed on the planet. And when we feed into it, it just gives it strength. So what we want to do is feed into the new consciousness on earth. We want to feed into love, into the new grid, into whatever the new energies that are being created of 4th dimensional weave, 5th dimensional love energy, 6th dimensional mastery focus. So just feed love. And when we feed more love into the 3rd dimensional weave, it starts to come apart, right? Because we're going to go through the 3rd dimensional weave to get to the other one. However you see that in meditation, you can send your love out into the world and create. That's how we create a new world. I don't say better world. It's a new world, right? It is better. It is going to be better, but let's just say it's a new world. So I want to, we have about 20 minutes left. So if you have questions or comments, like Mahinaku, thank you very much. And I'm looking over here on Facebook too, just to make sure I don't miss anything. Thank you so much. I also wanted to draw your attention to the channeling for this month. And the channeling was, and that's how I got the title for this program. The channeling is called Create a New World on Earth. And let me just tell you a little bit about this channeling, because I told you in the past month that in September, I felt like I was in the void, right? And what I did was, in that month, I completed my journey of channeling with Goddess Sophia. And I didn't really want to, but that was the energy that was prevailing. And I know that when I let go of something, that something new comes into that void. So what is coming in now into the void, and that kind of in between space that I was feeling, and have you been feeling that too? I mean, were you in that void last month? Because for me it was disconcerting, because I'm kind of a Saturn kind of person. If you haven't noticed, I have a prevailing Saturn kind of energy that works for me to have things organized and everything. And it's a journey for me to let go and go with the flow. So here I was in this kind of uneasy space, and in came a new guardian goddess light. And so that's what I'm calling her for now, is a guardian goddess light. And this was my first channeling with her. And I think I had some feedback on it, and it seemed to have gone over well. I hope you enjoy it. It's available on my website at KarinnaNielsen.com under the channelings. And there you can see all the channelings of different spirit guides that I've channeled. And also, I want to mention the Sedona Journal. And look who's up here at the top. I'm sorry, I had to say that. Anyway, my articles are every month in the Sedona Journal, and I'm very grateful to them. And next month is the predictions article. And so that will be probably one of the last articles that you'll see from Goddess Sophia in there, because that is, it's a little bit, we give it to them quite a ways in advance. So this new article, Create a New World on Earth, what I really could appreciate here were her thoughts on how do we do that personally. And one of them was to turn off the technology. And that's right in the opening statement of, you know, how we can go beyond any anger and fear and choose a higher path of love. Because in the very first sentence is the answer. Each of you incarnate on earth is creating a new world through a collective vision of love held in your hearts. And when we turn off the digital devices, you know, and, you know, it's so easy to just run through the Twitter feed and to, you know, engage in the news in that way. Don't forget about your heart and listen to your heart, and listen to what she's saying also is listen to Mother Earth. What is Mother Earth telling you? And can you get outside, and can you get your feet in the grass or put your feet on the ground? Go walk on the sand if you're near a beach and feel Mother Earth. What is she saying to you? Because each of us have that ability to channel and to feel. Now, channeling doesn't mean you're gonna, you know, speak the words of the spirit guide, or you're gonna write them down, or doesn't necessarily mean that. It could mean that you channel the love that you feel into your life, into your relationships, and make it a better world for yourself and for everyone around you by feeling the loving energies and just channeling that into your day-to-day life. So as she says, we think the new world into being, and we hold the vision in our hearts, because that's what it's going to take to anchor it to earth. Now that's an interesting concept, because we're creating this new vision on earth, but there's a period of time where it needs to be anchored. And that brings back the idea of, you know, a matrix of thought. And the matrix doesn't have to be just a third dimensional matrix. When I was with the Silver Wings of Light, we did a lot of goddess work, unhooking or releasing the third dimensional matrix from earth. And that had to do with ceremonies and traveling around the world. And so it's released from, it's not held fast unless we hold it fast there with our anger and our thoughts. But if we release it, we're able to anchor a new thought process or a new way of being to the earth. And it would be a higher frequency of love. And you know, you can call it the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension or whatever, but through our being in love and having loving thoughts, we're gonna anchor it there, and it's gonna come. And you know, sometimes when I get out and I talk to people, instead of just looking, you know, on the news or wherever else, you know, the news can project a pretty dire picture of what's going on in our world. But when you talk one-on-one with people, there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of love out there, and people helping each other. There's a lot of community activities going on here in our community that are very hopeful. So it's about remaining positive, I think, and engaging as you feel you can. A lot of people don't, maybe they don't feel called to go out and help with a food drive, or go out and do something like pick up, you know, litter or whatever. Maybe you are called to prayer. Maybe you're called to send light. or maybe you're called to help a family member or a friend. Tune into your heart, and then you'll know how you can create a new world on earth by what you do. So, the goddess light, now, we want to make clear that the goddess energy is not male or female, that all beings on the planet, all incarnate beings have a spark of the goddess light within them, because it's about the divine feminine. So many people don't choose to activate that goddess light, but some of us work in the goddess light, and we actively use it in our prayers and in our work. So the goddess, according, I'm going back to the article now, sees the opportunity and creates a new world of love out of the chaos of the old world. So it's been said that the goddess creates in chaos, and we know there are goddesses throughout mythology and throughout history that are like Pele is a creator in chaos, right? Through the fire, she creates a new world. There are plenty of other goddesses that are transformational, Pluto type energies, right? That through destruction, there's a new world created. So, knowing that kind of helps, because it's almost like, I always use that kind of analogy of the caterpillar going across a leaf, and it doesn't know that it's going to become a butterfly, right? Who can fly, thousands of miles. It's just a caterpillar crawling across a leaf. But there's a transformation that occurs. And the transformation, when we're in that transformation, imagine a caterpillar in the chrysalis and thinking, oh no, what did I do wrong? I can't move. There's, my whole world is falling apart. And there's a chaos that's prevailing that caterpillar cannot control. But if the caterpillar is patient, prays, meditates, maybe that after a period of time, the caterpillar comes out and becomes a butterfly, and there's a transformation that is so powerful. And that's kind of what I feel we're engaged in now, that eventually, with time and a lot of love, we're going to emerge in this great shift into a new world on earth. So part of that knowing comes from meditation, and the guardian goddess does come back to this as well, and saying we have to have self-love, and we have to have patience, and the great shift is here, we're midst in it, and we might feel resistance to change, but the world is shifting nonetheless. And we want to make sure that we're not chasing the energy. She talks a little bit about chasing the energy, like, trying to do something, keep doing it. And, like last month, things were completing. And if you just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, then you're really chasing the energies. At times, it's good to pull back and just, let the energy come to you, meditate and see what's new, what could I possibly do that's new. And that's actually why I did that class last month about breathing for ascension. So if you're still interested in learning about that breathing technique, it's a full hour class with slides and demonstrations and everything, and you can learn how to do the 5 breath self-healing meditation, and that's on signaturecellhealing.com. It was something new for me, and I enjoyed it, and I think the people that participated enjoyed it as well. So we're not, as she says in the article, we're not called upon to judge good or bad. We're only called upon to open our hearts and be in love. And within that love, we'll find the answers. So that's a really, I think, a powerful way to think about where we are right now in this time, when we have a lot of variables going on in what we see every day, in our countries, in our world, in our communities. There's just a lot of uncertainty. And when we're in that space of love, we know first of all, we're going to know what we need to do. And when you breathe, you can feel where you're supposed to be. And it won't be so anxious. And this is what I do when something creates anxiety for me. If there's something going on that's I think, oh, usually it's, I can't control that, I just breathe. I just breathe. I just do that 5 breath self-healing meditation, and I just kind of sit back and take a moment and don't rush into it. It's really important that we get out of that hind part of our brain that is the fight or flight or freeze that Master Guide Carol has also talked about. Fight or flight, because we're in that space, we're very impulsive and we do things just in jerk reaction. But if we can get into the higher parts of our brain, just breathe and wait and listen in meditation, you're going to feel more guidance and feel the answer. So, if you have other shares, I'm happy to take them. Thank you so much we're coming towards the end of our time. And I did want to tell you that if you're interested in the 5 breath self-healing meditation and learning more about signature cell healing, there's a class called First Steps to Signature Cell Healing, Healing the Self. And it's happening about a month from now online, November 5th, 12th, and 19th. So it's 3 hours each day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And we're going to go through the first part of signature cell healing. Really, what are the first steps? And if you haven't done signature cell healing before, you'll learn a lot of new things. If you have done it before, what you're going to find is there's a lot that's been updated. So a lot of people might say, or because there's been a lot of signature cell healing workshops and classes. So you might say, well, I already took that, I already know that, and I'm already practicing that. But in the first steps that we did in May, we did a first steps online, we meaning me and my hosts in Holland, Taya and Thomas. We did a first steps in May. It was very successful, a lot of fun. And there were people in there that had been practicing signature cell healing, and they did say that they were amazed at how much new information was in there. And I can't help it. I got to do things differently. And when Kahu handed the reins over to me to do the workshops and the courses, he and the team and I and everyone here in Honolulu in the team updated what was going into the workshop. So if you took it in 2005 or something like that, or even 2010 or 2012, it's all being updated now. So this first part is a really a lot of fun. I hope you'll check it out. It's on signaturecellhealing.com under the workshops, First Steps to Signature Cell Healing, Healing the Self. And also, you can sign up for newsletters on my website or on signaturecellhealing.com. We have a newsletter list there now too. So you can remember what's going on, and you can get reminders. So the last thing I wanted to tell you was we do this global healing meditation for Mother Earth every month or every moon cycle. We do the global healing meditation for Mother Earth. And you can do it from wherever you are. It's at 9 o'clock your local time. And you go into meditation and you do the 5 breath self-healing meditation. If you don't know how to, there's kind of there's a tutorial that you can get, or you can just breathe, send your light down into the core of Mother Earth. There's a code that we use and a chant from our goddess sister Mahina Ku that you can listen to. The translation is there as well on the KarinnaNielsen.com website. And then we send our light to Diamond Head and we create a weave there, and it goes all around the world. So I hope you can join us this month. It will be on the 27th of October. That's a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. your local time. And if you can't make it at exactly that time, your local time, then program your higher self to be there with us. Maybe you got a dinner that night or something, I don't know. But, you can always program your higher self in advance. It's just something that we do about 3 nights before the full moon, uh, every month. And then I wanted to also tell you that if you are a fan of the Kahu and Kiro books, which I was part of the publishing company, so I'm a big fan of the books. You can see some of them behind me. There's a $5 special on some of those books on signaturecellhealing.com. So it's $5 plus shipping. What a deal. So I hope you'll join me next month. I'll be here November 7th. We'll already be in the First Steps course, but I'd really like to meet with you again. Wait, I think I see something in the chat before we go. Okay, so here's, before we go, I'm sorry, I didn't see this, Sandra, before. So let's just take this quickly. I agree that there still is, and seemingly will be for a while, a lot of unknown energy out there regarding changes, seemingly, because there's a lot of the old energy, especially in leadership and positions of power and control in society, that doesn't seem to want to change in positive ways or listen to those of us who do not want these positive changes. So I agree that we need to use prayer and meditation regularly. Thanks for a great presentation today. You're welcome, Sandra, and what a great share. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I saw that. And thanks from Amy on Facebook. I'm so glad that I could get it to go on Facebook this time. Very good. So please join me next month on the 7th. Thank you all so much for participating. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great month. You can email me at KarinnaNielsen.com or reach me on Facebook or Instagram. Hope you have a great weekend and a great month of October. Lots of love and prana breathing. Aloha.